Pleasure to talk to you. For our next story, we move over to the United States, and in response to ongoing protests in Minnesota, the Pentagon has put approximately 1,500 active duty soldiers on alert for a potential deployment. The soldiers based in Alaska are being prepared for possible action in case tensions escalate amid protests against the government's deportation efforts. While the military's involvement remains uncertain, the move comes after US President Donald Trump threatened to invoke the Insurrection Act, which would allow him to deploy military forces to suppress unrest. Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey has strongly opposed the idea of military intervention, calling it a ridiculous and unconstitutional idea. The mayor has also stressed that the presence of more federal agents would further worsen the situation. Joining us now to discuss this situation coming out of the US state of Minnesota is Major General Dr. Rajan Kochar. He's an international relations expert. He joins us live from New Delhi. Of course, this situation, ever since the deployment of ICE troops to the city of Minnesota, of course, a very much protest-sensitive city. And the killing of Renee Nicole Good just a couple of weeks ago now. This situation is very much volatile, seeing these state and national agencies clash one another. And now we're seeing that Donald Trump may send more troops into the state. Of course, one of the most democratic states in the United States. Why does Donald Trump think that imposing these troops onto Minnesota will make it a safer place to be, given the fact, of course, the American people have the right to protest their government, and also the fact that the state-level officials have a serious problem with the Trump administration imposing federal troops into the state and the city of Minneapolis?
Good morning, Thomas. See, the issue which is boiling down is there is a pattern which Trump has enforced. He's targeting the states where the governors or the administration is from Democrats. It is very apparent. Minnesota was one. California also, we heard about that, about the National Guard deployment there also, over the protest which actually happened in Los Angeles. Then we heard about in Oregon also, in Portland also, where the federal forces were employed, and in Chicago, Illinois, where the National Guard deployments were there. So I think one pattern, a discerning pattern which I can see is that the states which are being targeted are mainly the opposition states. Second important aspect is that when President Trump announced his immigration policy at the time of elections, he made a promise to the nation that he's going to weed out the immigrants, and he had a certain figure in mind. He is not able to achieve those targets. So what is happening is that a lot of innocent people are being roped in, and we have hearing cases. People are going to the court for a wrongful consignment or imprisonment, and without any valid charges also being levied on them, because now given a particular target, the law enforcement agencies are trying to get near that target what Trump has given. So I think this is possibly has been the resentment of the states, that Trump is trying to enforce the federal power over the state administration. And this Insurrection Act 1807 is one of the act which is used very rarely. And to my understanding, in the present circumstances, the imposition of this act is not warranted because the law and order machinery in the state hasn't broken down. the state governments are cooperating with the federal agencies, with the ICE and other agencies. So there should not be any concern on part of Donald Trump to impose this Insurrection Act on these states, and it will then, send a wrong precedence also, because once you start imposing it, then you have precedents, and later governments can also make use of these precedents. So I think it's a dangerous trend. What has to be seen here is a good intelligence network to find out who are the actual immigrants who are staying in these areas, carry out a mapping of these immigrants with a total coordination between the state and the federal forces, because whenever you want to impose or you want to eradicate a particular malady or a particular infirmity in a country, you need a coordination between the state and the center. And therefore, I feel that this methodology which is being adopted, like a kind of a dictator kind of a thing, that you send your federal forces on your whims and fancies, and also in selective states. You see, immigration is there in all states of America. It is not only in the democratic ruled states. So I don't see a reason why the democratic states are being targeted, because according to my information, and which I mentioned earlier also, there is a definite trend to suggest that the opposition states are being targeted. And the final argument of mine is that if you want to enforce a thing, please let the state governments do it. If they are unable to do it, then a sort of communication must go from the federal government to the state governments to explain why the progress is slow, and thereafter a particular action can be taken. So it has to be in the form of a communication, it has to be in the form of a consensus. It cannot happen unilaterally the way it is happening now.
Yes, Major General Dr. Rajan Kochar, thank you very much for joining us here on NewsX World. Pleasure to get your insight. Now we